In the year 1999, a pilot named Petey Shelbourne went into a pawn store looking anxious before dropping a very weird-looking toy with a drum. Unbeknownst to him, he is covered in blood until the store owner informed him of that. Unfortunately, Petey isn't bothered by this as he informed the store owner the blood isn't his. He wants the store owner to take the toy off his hand as he doesn't want it anymore. He claims his boys doesn't like the toy anyways. So the store owner quickly showed him the store rules, which is no returns on children toys. Plus, the toy itself seems to be broken, and just as he tries to explain to the shop owner that the monkey is cursed. At this exact moment, the monkey began playing its tune, and after a brief moment of nothing occurring, a mouse bites through a wire that is holding a harpoon gun, which eventually causes it to fire and impales the shop owner, before then pulling his intestine out when the harpoon retracts. So after witnessing this, Petey get a flamethrower and bid to melt the monkey. During this, we get to find out that Petey abandoned his wife named Lois and their twin sons Hal and Bill. So the scene shifted as a voice narrates to us that his name is Hal Shelbourne. And when he was little, he and his twin brother named Bill never had a good relationship because he was always a timid little boy while Bill was a bully to him. Although he said he found a way to love him, even though he had wished he was the only child. So one fateful day, when the kid were messing around with their dad's stuff, they found a box with the words like life written on it. So when they eventually opened it, the boys find a monkey among their father's possessions, which they assume is meant to say lifelike. So quickly, Hal proceeds to turn the key on the monkey's back, but nothing happens, at least at first. But later, it starts to make noise. However, the boys just felt that the toy was broken, so they left it. The next day, the boys are later taken to a restaurant by their babysitter named Annie. The monkey was also in their possession, which also seems creepy. Once they got to the restaurant to have their meal, the monkey began to play its usual drum tune, and once it was done, the hibachi chef that was quietly flirting with Annie accidentally decapitates her with his spatula, and her head falls immediately onto the grill. They held a funeral for Annie, which in Hal narration, that would have probably been the sign they needed about keeping the monkey, but then they didn't realize how dangerous and evil it was. Days later, at school, Bill made the other kids to bully Hal due to the fact he carries the monkey toy around with him. So when he got home, he angrily got to his room, and just then, he found the monkey staring at him. At night, when Hal tried sleeping, he going to take a look at the monkey, but yet again, Bill arrived to bully him. Later at school, the kids continued to make fun at Hal for taking his monkey along with him. And once he was free, they approached him with a lot of bananas. So in anger, Hal got home, and once he was in his room, he tries to use the monkey to kill Bill. After requesting for the death of Bill, he turns the key, and he waits for something to happen. On the other hand, Bill arrived home just in time as Lois was baking a cake, but sadly the monkey began hitting his drum, and once it was done with its tune, Lois begins bleeding from every part of her body until she lost consciousness on the floor and died. Adult Hal narrates to us that the doctor stated that their mom suffered what was called a boomerang aneurysm, which occurs only 1 in 44 million, but he was the only one who knows what really happened. He further explained that when you turn the key and the drumsticks go up, the monkey kills who it wants, and when it feels like it, as it doesn't take request. So during the funeral, Bill tries to get his mother to wake up, but when she doesn't respond, it dawned on him that his mom is truly dead. After which, the boys are sent to live with their uncle named Chip. So in the middle of the night, Hal decides to destroy the monkey by chopping it to bits. He is shocked to find out that the toy has blood in it. However, this doesn't stop him from chopping it to pieces. Hal narrates to us that after a short while, the monkey ended up reappearing at their house in one piece. Hal began to explain to Bill that the monkey is a bad monkey, and he believed it killed their babysitter. So unconvinced that the monkey is responsible for the recent deaths, Bill turns the key to be sure, and once they did so, Uncle Chip is later killed during a camping trip as Hal explained to us that he was killed by a stampede of 67 wild horses which sadly tramples him to death in his sleeping bag, leaving him reduced to nothing. The boys then put the monkey back in its box and throw it down a well, hoping it will never hurt anybody again, in order to contain it, which after many years, it seems to have worked. Fast forward to 25 years later, we get to discover that Auntie Ida now lives alone. So one fateful night, she goes into her basement, holding her gun as she feels someone is in her house. After her check, she found nothing, so on her way back upstairs. But unluckily for her, she falls through the stairs, while also getting a bunch of fish hooks stuck in her face. She goes on to treat herself by rubbing alcohol, but she hears a noise coming from the stove. Aunt Ida places her head near it, and the stove lights up, igniting her whole head. So quickly, she runs out of the house screaming before running face first into the sharp wooden signboard. On the other hand, Hal narrates to us that he now lives alone, and he has a son named Petey, whom he only sees once a year due to his fear that the monkey might return one day, thereby putting his son Petey at harm's way. So after working, Hal proceeded to go pick up Petey for their week together. Unfortunately, during this, Hal learns from his ex-wife and her new husband named Ted Hammerman, who's also a leading expert in his field, that Ted is legally adopting Petey, and they feel it would be better for Hal to no longer be involved in his life. Hal doesn't like the fact that he wouldn't be part of his son's life, so while they argue, Petey arrived. The scene shifted focus to Auntie Ida property been sold, which among them was the monkey. So while people were purchasing what they wanted, a man named Ricky, who is the son of a local police officer and mostly spends time by himself, arrived to pick the monkey. Back to Hal and his son, they both went into a motel. Petey continued to ask his dad questions on their family background, since he was doing a school project on family trees. So Hal lies about not having a brother, but he tells his son about his mother Lois. So later at night, Hal had a weird dream about the monkey. When he woke up, he received a phone call from Bill, someone he had not seen or spoken to in 10 years. Bill informed him that the monkey has returned and Hal needs to go to Ida's house to settle her estate, while also finding out if the monkey is at her place, since they both feel her death is not natural. So while Hal is having this conversation with his brother, he sees a fan falling into a puddle of water that is seeping into the pool. Just then, a woman is about to swim, but before Hal can warn her that the water is electrified, she jumps in, making her explode from the electrocution, confirming to Hal that the monkey has indeed been reactivated. Immediately, he ordered Petey to wake up so they can move. Hal drive his son back home, and just then, Petey asked his dad how his mother had died, and when Hal told him, he insisted that he come along with his dad to his aunt's place in order to support him, but Hal refused immediately, stating it filled with only darkness and deaths. Petey then revealed to his dad that he knows of the adoption, so with a little time they both have together, he wants to spend it with his dad. The two eventually got to Ida's home, where Petey is annoyed to learn from the real estate agent named Barbara that Hal has a brother. Afterwards, they all went into the house, and as they did so, Barbara explains to them that there have been a series of horrific accidents in the town recently, after Ida's death, as people kept on dying in the most mysterious way possible. After her narration on the death of different individuals, Barbara tried opening the closet door, but it doesn't open even after multiple attempts. Immediately, Hal began to feel something is wrong, but just then she opened it. Unfortunately for Barbara, a shotgun falls out and blasts Barbara to pieces, with Hal getting a fingertip in his mouth. The police arrived to question Hal about the accident that occurred leading to Barbara's death. Later, just as Hal was finding the toy, Bill called Hal, trying to figure out where the monkey is. However, after the call ended, Hal realized that Bill has been activating the monkey, as he was the one who hired Ricky to get it for him. He has been using it in the hopes of having the monkey kill Hal, since he knows that Hal activating the monkey caused their mother's death. So in his bid to kill Hal, he has been causing the deaths of the innocent people. He then sent Ricky to kidnap Hal and Petey to try get Petey to turn the key, so as to kill his own father. During this, Hal's co-worker is killed by the monkey. Back to Hal and Petey, the two drove to a new motel where Petey is mad at his dad. Hal quickly called his brother Bill to warn him to stop turning the key, but he refuses to stop until Hal is dead. Just as the two discuss, someone knocked at their door, and it was Ricky in a cop uniform. He abducts the two and brings them to Bill's place. Petey goes inside to meet Bill alone, even after passing through a series of booby traps. So when Petey finally met his uncle, he is deceived by Bill into turning the key. So once he did so, Ricky accidentally fires his gun while scratching his head, hitting a wasp's nest. The wasps shoot out of their nest, with the entire hive swarming inside Ricky's mouth and tearing out through his face. Hal, who witnessed this, ran into the building to try and confront Bill. Meanwhile, Bill is pissed off and demands for the monkey to kill Hal, even trying to force its arm down to play the drum. As a result, the monkey begins to play the drum rapidly, causing the ground to shake. A loud noise is then heard, and just as Bill checked outside to see, he found a plane crashing into the town, killing off thousands of people. When everything is settled, Hal tries to talk to Bill and apologize for what happened with their mother. After a moment, Bill finally decides to reconcile with Hal and try to be a real family. But I guess the monkey wasn't done, as the monkey's arm hits the drum again, triggering one last booby trap that shoots a bowling ball towards Bill's head, crushing it. Hal and Petey leave in total silence. Just as the two drive through town with the monkey, they witness the aftermath of the wreckage, with many bodies sprawled across town. As they stop at a red light, a pale man riding a white horse goes past Hal's car. Later on, Hal invites Petey to go dancing, since his mom used to love doing that. Petey accepts. They drive off, with a bus full of cheerleaders passing by, and a truck that drives next to them, killing all of them. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe to our channel for more horror movie recap like this. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.